Hey y'all, so on today's garden chores, I need to get these Nellie Stevens hollies that are right behind me trimmed up. I had a specific question on how I trim these up in the comments in a previous video, and I'll share with you how I do that today. It's very simple. Again, if you watched a few videos back about pruning the boxwoods in the front, this is the exact same situation. I try to trim anything, hedge anything when it is cooler outside. So early spring, early to mid-spring is ideal, but sometimes you just, can't get to everything in time, and this is one of those situations as where the boxwoods up in front. And although you can see that it's sunny, it's been overcast here all day, and there's a big set of clouds just over to the east that are getting ready to move over the sun right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get these Nellie Stevens hollies trimmed. Ideally, I would like for it to be cooler. I think it's about 85 degrees. It's very humid here. We've had a ton of rain. These things will be fine. Nellie Stevens hollies are a super tough Oklahoma plant, and you can see they're provided some shade by this redbud tree as well. And then in addition to the hedging of the Nellie Stevens hollies, I am going to get the zinnias pinched in the back. They're ready to be pinched. I'll have to look at the cosmos when I go back there. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying much attention to them yesterday, but the zinnias are definitely ready to be pinched. So we'll do that as well. Again, another very basic gardening video. And, some people in the comments have said some things like, this is very basic, but I do appreciate it. There's a lot of people that watch this channel. Some people are beginning gardeners, and some people are a lot more experienced gardeners, and there's master gardeners out there as well. So everybody does stuff a little bit different. And I think sometimes it's nice to see what works for other people, even if it's not the ideal conditions or the ideal time and things like that. An example is the direct sown seeds that I put out in the back and left for basically 2 weeks, and most of them germinated. I think that my germination with my nasturtium and the cosmos could have definitely been better if I would have planted them earlier and been there to overhead water them for day after day, but I wasn't, and that's just life. So I always think that when I see gardening videos and I see somebody doing something when I wouldn't have done it, or differently than I would have done it, it's nice to know, like, hey, I can do this at this time, or I can do this at that time, and things like that, and that it works for other people in similar climates. So anyways, why don't I just get everything out and we will get these trimmed up. I hate trimming Nellie Stevens hollies because they're sharp. My gloves have a hole in them. I wear those mechanics gloves, the Dura leather gloves, and I ordered some off Amazon recently, and they got lost in the mail, and so I had to reorder them, and they're not in yet because I had a hole in one of the fingers. And so I'll probably use Tommy's gloves and my little shrub rake, because these are very, very pokey, and I really don't like them touching my legs and things like that as I'm trimming them, because then I end up getting itchy. But I am wearing shorts, and that was a bad choice, but we're going to do it anyway. So let me get out my stuff, and then we'll get these hollies trimmed up and get the zinnias pinched. Here is what they currently look like. You can see that they do get a lot of shade. They're a little bit wonky because these are large when we put them in. And so I'm certainly, they kind of tilted as they settled a little bit, but the root ball on these are just way too big. I just sat on those cushions and my whole butt is wet now. I forgot that it rained this morning. No shocker there, right? But anyways, the root ball, they just settled just a little bit, and so you can see here that these aren't perfectly spaced out. So I'm gonna take to this one pretty good to try to even up this gap here. I will trim up these two outside ones first to kind of see exactly what I'm dealing with, and then how I want to shape this middle one. So they actually came in and readjusted it because it was leaning even more after they first planted it, and it settled, but then it kind of settled again. The stalk though is pretty straight. So anyways, we're just gonna take the pruners to it in order to get it shaped up the way we want it. It's one of those things where, anything like boxwoods and hollies, they take time to get exactly how you want them and get them shaped up, and you need to prune them up consistently when you do that. So this is these hollies' third prunes since we put them in about, I think it's been probably almost 2 years now. So it's their third prune. So we'll eventually get them shaped up and looking exactly how we want them here shortly. All right, so got all the equipment Got the kangaroo hard shell bag. I would never get anything other than the hard shell. They rip and you end up with a hole in the bottom. My little shrub rake, which is so awesome. I'll have to try to find a link. I can never find a link on YouTube or Amazon for this exact rake. It's small and it's compact and it has a wooden handle. So I got this for Christmas. My in-laws got this for me probably 3 or 4 years ago. And one of my specifications was I wanted a shrub rake, but I wanted a wooden handle. I don't like the plastic ones. And anyways, this is hard to find a link to, so I'll attempt to do that, or I'll link something similar. And then this is the same hedger that I use on the boxwoods. I use it for everything. I actually got it at Lowe's years and years and years ago as an open item, and it was super cheap. But I can find an exact link on YouTube that will show up on this video for this, or at least I could when I put out the boxwood video, but like on Amazon or anything like that, I can't find the exact link. It's only the 40 volt one. So this one is really nice. The 24 volt lasts me all of the boxwoods in the front. I don't know how many boxwoods I have in the front, but it's a lot, and it's a lot smaller and lighter than that 40 volt one. So this is why I like this one. I'm gonna go get the battery for that really quick and the ladder, and we'll get started. All right, well, we're nowhere perfect, but we're much better. Not near as shaggy. And then now you can see, like, I left a lot of this new growth over here to try to fill in this void a little bit. And then I'll continue to work on this void as this one matures a little bit more so that we can kind of get them similar. This is not something that you even notice when you're out here. It's just something that I notice because I'm OCD and it drives me nuts and it bothers me. So one day we'll get these to where they are exactly where I want them. But for now, this is all that I can do. And now I need to get all of this stuff cleaned up, which is my least favorite part. It's always very sad when Tommy is out of town when I'm doing projects like this, because he usually follows behind me and cleans up as I go. One of the main reasons why I love him. That's a joke, you guys. I do love him a lot, but he does come behind me typically and clean up. And I love that. I just get to do my project and then I move on to the next one and he cleans it up. So he's not here today. So he wasn't here yesterday for the boxwood video, or a couple, I guess the boxwood video will probably be out a couple days before this video, but he wasn't home then either. So I had to clean up all my own boxwood mess. Sucks. Let's turn around here. Got all this cleaned up, and so what I did, follow me for more lazy gardening hacks, but I shove a lot of the cut pieces up under the hollies because it'll compost and just kind of break down into the soil, which is absolutely perfect. And then I just scoop everything out, I blow it all in a circle, and then put it in a bag. So that is a hot, humid, lazy gardener hack. Now let's go pinch some zinnias. All right, so already need to weed back here again, but the zinnia bed is over here, and I'm gonna attempt to do a much better job at showing you guys the up close version. Last time, so embarrassing, last time I did a video in these beds, I went back to edit it and watched it, and I'm like, my arm's in the way the entire time. So sorry about that, and I will do better this time. So we've already pinched the dahlias, and some of the cosmos are probably far enough along, but not all of them. So I'm gonna wait until I can pinch most of them. The zinnias are further along than the cosmos though, and I do need to pinch some of these. I think they're gonna be a couple, and there's still some that are kind of germinating a little bit that are pretty small, but there are gonna be some that I don't pinch because you want, let's see if I can get this a little bit closer. So let's see if you can see this one. So this zinnia right here, you see how it has, this is not a true leaf. This is not considered a set of true leaves. This is considered the first set of true leaves. I like to have at least 2 sets of true leaves. These are at the point right here where they have 1, 2, and then 3. So I'm just gonna go in here and I'm going to pinch that right off the top. You can use Felcos. I do like Felco 321s, but these sets of leaves right here, they don't have a stem on them yet, so it's easier for me to just go in here with my fingers and pinch those out. So I'm gonna do that on any of these zinnias that have 3 sets of leaves. So here's another one right here. Somebody also asked in a previous video what this jute netting is that I use, and I will link that in this video as well. So 1, 2, 3, pinch. Pinching, and I'll throw this stuff in here because it'll compost, but pinching will allow you to have a sturdier stemmed plant. It will give you more blooms because it will branch out. So I grow zinnias back here strictly for bloom production. So I pinch all my zinnias, all my cosmos, and all the dahlias. And pretty much anything I plant back here is meant for flower production. So everything will pretty much get pinched. Let's look at this one here. This one is small, but it does have 3 sets of true leaves. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just go in here and pinch that little middle piece off there. And I'm just going to repeat that over and over and over again until I am done. So this was a really good stand of zinnias right here. So I thinned them out in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, I will link that above, because they need to be really thinned before you pinch them. They don't, I guess, necessarily have to be, but I just don't like to allow the root system to get pretty extensive, especially when they're clustered together like this. Like this cluster was much bigger before I thinned it, and if I allow that to happen, then if I'm pulling them up, I can disturb the other plants around its root system, and I don't want to do that. Or I could just cut it down at the base, but I find it easier just to go in and pinch it early, thin it early, and be done with it. So let's look here at one more. You'll have to trust me here, it'll be hard to see, but 1, 2, 3. This one actually has 4, so I'll just go ahead and pinch it right there above the 4th one. Same for this right here. Go in and pinch it. And so on and so forth. So I'm gonna set my camera up. I'm gonna knock this out really quickly. And then I'll go around and show a little bit of the activity that's going on in front of the beehives after this, because I'm a bee nerd, and I have a chair back here. You guys have probably seen it in previous videos. It's just right over there. And I come out here on the weekends in the morning and I drink my coffee and I watch all the hives. I watch them doing their thing. This hive over here was a little tiny split that I made, and it is doing pretty well. It had a queen in it that I caught, and she was a drone layer, so I needed to replace her. And I ordered a queen from Bee Weaver Bees in Navasota, Texas. They are a mite resistant, no treatment bee farm basically, and they sell queens. And so I purchased one of their queens, and she was in her cage in that hive for 5 days. I didn't film that video. I was hot and I needed to get it done. I needed to get her in that hive, and I just didn't film it. But wasn't really much to see. I literally put her in her cage and I stuck her in there between 2 frames. It took them 5 days to release her, but they did, and I inspected it a couple days ago, and she was in there walking around looking for a place to lay, and they had totally accepted her. So bees are amazing creatures. They didn't have any eggs to replace their old queen that was in there, and so they were just going to, basically, a lot of bees die every single day, and if I didn't do something, I gave them a frame of brood from another hive, and if I wouldn't have intervened with a new queen and added brood, there's no doubt that that hive would not have made it. And they still aren't out of the woods yet. They need to, the brood from that frame, I put a really packed frame of brood in there, and that should help their numbers out quite a bit, because they need foragers, they need nurse bees, they need, you know, all the bees in the different stages in order to keep a hive going and rocking at full production. But anyways, less about the bees. Let's go ahead and get all of these pinched. Even though it did rain this morning, I'm going to give them a quick mist. There was a massive cloud that I saw when I was walking goose earlier, and it's supposed to be overcast and cloudy. And right now, since I've been out here, it has not been overcast and cloudy. So, I don't know. That's what the weather shows currently. I even looked before I walked him. And here are my first zinnia blooms. These are volunteers. When I was weeding, I saw it was right on the outside of the bed, and I just couldn't bring myself to pull it up. It's Bennery's Giant Purple. It's one of my favorite zinnias. And there is another one over here. So you can see how much further along these are that I allowed to grow from self-sowing than these, but these are catching up. So let's see here. This hive over here, this hive is rocking it, and if they're not careful, it's gonna become my favorite hive. They've got a medium super on. I need to get in there honestly and check and see how much they've drawn out that medium super. The medium super is the green box, and it has black plastic frames and foundations in there. So that top box, the blue box, is a feeder. This hive is doing okay. This is the package that I installed this spring, and they killed off their queen, which was no surprise. They just did it a lot earlier than I expected them to do it. And they're doing okay. They're getting fed, and they're drawing out comb, but they requeened. I allowed their queen to open mate, as I did all of these hives except for the small nuke that I was just showing you earlier before or during pinching the zinnias. So they're doing all right. They're bringing in pollen though. They've got a laying queen, and everything looks good. They're just off to a slow start after getting rid of their queen. This hive, let me come over here, get out of their flight path so I don't end up with a bee in my hair. This hive is my original hive, and it's doing well. It swarmed, and so the honey production is way behind. I allowed them to raise a new queen and open mate a new queen, which honestly I probably should have just bought a queen, a mated queen, and put her in there and killed off all the other queens just to speed up production. But I wanted to allow them to do it. They did it last year with their queen that came in the package, which again is no surprise, but they swarmed, and then I allowed a virgin that they created to mate, and her brood pattern looks really good. I was in this hive last week and it looks really good, and I'm really happy with it. So we'll see how she does throughout this summer. But that is the scoop back here. That is what's going on. I feel like it's so much later. Not later, excuse me. I feel like I'm so far behind back here, and really I am, because of being gone, not getting things planted when I wanted. And then honestly, it's just now starting to feel like summer. It's just now starting to feel like June to me. We've had so much rain and it's been nice and cool that it just doesn't feel like June. I've not had to water one time this year. Isn't that crazy? Which I'm very thankful for, but we are oversaturated at this point. And there's a lot of rain that we're getting that we can't even use because our soil is so saturated, and there's so much runoff. But I'm thankful for it, at least for back here in my garden, and especially the raised beds. So sometimes that's just how gardening goes. You feel behind. In fact, actually, I always feel behind. I don't know about you guys, but I always feel like I'm behind. I always feel like there's something that I could be doing. But hopefully here before too long, I get the front weeded and I get the back weeded, and then I can give you guys a full front and back tour. So that is all that I have for this video. Look for the mosquito PSA video that I am getting ready to post here shortly. It might come before or after this video, but take a look at it. I think it's worth watching. It's beneficial to watch, especially this time of year. Around here with all this rain, we have a mosquito problem, and I've been seeing some of the mosquito spray signs pop up in some yards. And I was reading an article the other day from Montgomery County, Maryland, and they have a website that is like a Going Green website, and it's really awesome. And it's, you know, treatments that are safe for pollinators and you know, natural beneficials to your area. And it talks about whether or not mosquito spraying works. And it also talks about, you know, I'll just cut to the chase, you wasting your money on mosquito spray, basically. But watch for that, because I think it would be good information whether you choose to, you know, change what you're doing or not. It's definitely good information. The mosquito thing, the mosquito spray thing, in my opinion, honestly, is just a money grab for these pest companies, and it's not good for you, your dogs, or any of the native pollinators or the native beneficials in your area. Now, if it would only kill things like Asian jumping worms, I would be thrilled. I would be supporting that. One day, maybe they'll figure out how to kill off all of the invasive Asian jumping worms. But until then, look for that video. That is all that I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.